Welcome to U.S. Rugby Happy Hour Live. Interviews with the biggest names in American rugby.
The New England Free Jacks, Major League Rugby champions. One-on-one to score.
Here are your hosts, Bill Baker and that other guy.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. This is U.S. Rugby Happy Hour Live. I'm Bill. This is Fitzy, and I'm in my echo chamber of a studio, so I apologize for that. We'll fix this in post. Fitzy, how are you, man?
I'm doing great. I'm still kind of buzzing from all the rugby the last couple weeks.
So much. It just like it ended. Obviously, not ended. It's still not over, obviously. But MLR finals was fun to watch, at least for one group of fans. But again, just to have a repeat, and I'm excited about talking to Scott Mathie later in the show about that. The head coach for New England Free Jacks. What'd you think of the match?
It was, I guess maybe kind of what I expected. Just going to be a little bit of I didn't think it was going to be a high-scoring game. I thought it was going to be two tough defenses going after each other, and certainly was. I mean, that try by LaRue Milan in the corner there was pretty cool, though.
And cool note about that, his last try scored was in the finals in Chicago last year.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I guess the injury really was tough to come back from.
Mm-hmm.
Again, we'll talk more about that later in the show, but also some other news coming up. We got the USA Women's 15s Eagles start the 2-match tour of Japan this Sunday on Rugby. You can watch on Rugby Pass. That's 5 a.m. Eastern time. I'm okay with that. West Coast might want to stay up late for it.
Yeah.
But I'm pumped that they're playing again, and I'm looking forward to the roster to come out. Also, Fitzy, I don't know if you saw this. Just recently, WER announced they're hosting the Legacy Cup, which is the new women's national championship just this September, not far away. So the top 4 WPL teams will play in Madison, Wisconsin, and then on September 14th, the championship will be in Greensboro, North Carolina, which is a bit of a haul for you still, isn't it?
A little bit. 5 or 6 hour drive, maybe 7. I don't know, 8.
Worth it, yeah. I'm excited about that too. I know there's a number of Eagles on a few of those teams. I'm not sure how many. Actually, with USA away, they should be back in time for those matches, I'm hoping. But it'd be great to watch them play. They are phenomenal. And right now, and we're going to talk about this in a second here, but the women's game is a buzz, and I'm so excited for that. I'm so excited for the growth of it. The few girls that I coach are also excited about it. You know, they obviously have. I've been hitting them in the head with highlights and telling them to watch this and this and that and so forth to really freaking blow up. I'm so pumped for them, and I'm so pumped for the game. Oh, sorry, I just lost my breath.
It's all right, Bill. You lost your breath. It's not like you sprinted 94 meters to score a try or anything. So come on.
I mean, come on. How hard could that be? All right. Speaking of that, let's get someone on who's an expert in that field, who is there and extremely involved in so much. And we are so pumped to have her on the show. Now she's gone from a Today Show appearance to, well, this show in between. Let's welcome Olympic bronze medalist Ari Ramsey. There she is. Hey, Ariana, how are you?
Hi. I'm good. How are you?
We're doing great. First of all,
can you hear me?
Welcome to the show. What's going on? Anything new?
Oh, no, I think her feed may have... Oh,
froze a little bit there.
Ari, can you hear us?
If you can hear us, Ari, we're going to do this. This happens once in a while. Maybe you can jump off and jump back on, get a reconnection to our feed. Apologize. It's just the way it happens, especially in hotels and our locations. So if you could do that, jump on back on right away.
Bill, I hear sometimes there's interference from the Olympic medals. I think it messes with the Wi-Fi a little bit.
Yeah. No kidding. We'll try to get it back on, guys. This happens once in a while. It's no problem, but we will get it back in. I think we're ready to get it back in here.
The Olympics need to increase and boost their Wi-Fi signal. Come on.
Okay, there's one. Are you there?
Yes. It's still like super laggy. I don't know what's wrong with the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, no worries. We'll do the best we can. It's happening. Yeah. Matter of fact, the last time we had a guest on from France was David Arnoutou from the men's team, and he kept on dropping out. I thought it was just him, but I guess it's France. Lost her again.
Nip.
Maybe we'll do just audio when she jumps back on.
When she
do that.
hopefully she's got the medal near her. I want to see that.
Yeah, we'll try again. I think what we're going to do is we're going to turn your video off for a second, see if that helps, and then we'll come back here and don't run away. Can you hear us okay, Ariana?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Excellent.
Okay, let's try this for a bit. I know we're not going to see you right away, but that's okay. People are listening in, which is great. So let's start again. Obviously, you're in France. You've been keeping yourself busy, and let's just get to it. Congratulations on winning the bronze medal. You've got to be riding on cloud 9 still and never coming down.
Yes, we were so excited. I think we definitely made history as a team. We did make history as a team. And just the way that the game ended and the fact that it was against Australia, it just made it so much more exciting. No more time on the clock. And the fact that we scored, like people who didn't even watch rugby heard about it. So it definitely feels like a pivotal moment for women's rugby and rugby in general too.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't know if you realize it or have thought about it much at all, but since you were first in line during the medal ceremony, you technically are the first USA Sevens player to receive a medal. So I would run with that.
Oh my God, that's a good point. I did not think about that.
Well, yeah. So you get it's going to probably be like a bar trivia question somewhere in the country at some point. Who was the first one? So Ari, let's jump into that match, the bronze medal match, and we really obviously we're going to talk about one play particularly to kick it off. Obviously, Spiff's try, full field. Take us through that play if you don't mind. You were heavily involved, obviously, in some of the match and spun it out to Alex. For those who don't play a lot of sevens, was there a plan at that point in the match? You're down by 5. Was there a plan that maybe you worked on prior to this match or prior to the tournament?
Well, when we're in that specific zone, we do have we have a set framework that we do in that zone. So, but when I got the ball, all I was thinking was about, so once the ruck happened, it was like right before I passed the ball to Spiff, you can see, I slowed down to make sure I was passing to the right way. That was a crucial moment where we really had to make the right decisions and take our time. And we had the time to do it because, there was no time on the clock. So that was the crucial time for us to really focus in. And that's what I did. I slowed down the play. I checked both sides, and Spiff wanted it the most. She must have known that she was about to get through. So I gave her the ball, and she just trucked through literally 2 to 2.5 girls. And yeah, she just went for it. I supported her, but once I saw her get to the 10 meters from the try zone, 20 meters, I was I knew she had it. Going for it. So, and it was right through the middle. So I knew we were going to make the kick. I was just as soon as she scored the try, I knew we had won that game, even though it was tied. Mm-hmm. It was just, oh man. So it was a really focused moment for us. It had to be.
So I want to back up about 8 seconds from right before you score. So breaking down that play, because I got to ask you, you threw a great spin pass to Spiff. When you're passing, is your left hand or your right hand your dominant passing side?
My left is way better than my right, but I'm right dominant.
Is that right? Okay. Yeah, because it was a great pass. I mean, to begin with, kudos there. I mean, nice spin pass. Because, if that ball is a little high or a little behind, or who knows what happens. But interesting to hear that your left hand is your dominant. That's awesome. You mentioned, because we were watching the clip, and of course, I mean, you replayed that clip. That clip has gone viral the world over, which is super awesome. So so I'm going to take you through it. From our point of view, it looked like around midfield. I think, as you were starting to say, it kind of dawned on you that no one's going to catch Alex. Yeah. But did you sense? I think it was a Madison Levy. Did you sense her flashing by, kind of on your right, or at that point were you "There's no way Alex is getting caught here"?
Even if she had gotten on her, I don't know. I should not have assumed that, honestly. But I really had a feeling that Spiff was going for it. And I know how fast Spiff is. She's the second fastest on our team. So, Madison Levy is also really fast. But, Spiff she was already ahead. She's already hitting 9.6 regularly. So I know how fast Spiff is. I just trusted her fully. I knew she had it. And, even if Madison Levy did catch her, it would have been close to the try zone.
Yeah.
What's it called? Naya was with her, too. So the support was there.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned Spiff is the second fastest, Are you the
Yeah.
fastest on the squad?
Technically, yes. Yes, technically.
Good answer. Oh, so Ari, Sammy was shown on the sidelines telling everyone to calm down, or more specifically, to shut up. Did you have that same sense in the field too? I know you just said that, like, straight under the post, easy kick after that, but was there anything at all? Like, okay, everyone calm down, we still have to get this.
Well, yeah, then we realized that we didn't have a actual kicker on the field. So then I was like, oh my gosh, okay, so we do have to make this kick. So Spiff had to make the kick after she scored the try. And I was kind of nervous, I'm not going to lie, but she had it and she did it because I was nervous because I don't know. I guess she has been practicing, but I had no idea that she was like whether or not she was going to be able to execute that. But she did, and she was confident, and she did it. So,
absolutely.
But yeah, when she had to make the kick, I was like, okay, wait, no.
And she had like an incredibly well-rounded match. I mean, she made a try-saving tackle against Levi also earlier in the game. We're not that far before that. I mean, she had a great game, not just the try.
I feel like Spiff always plays well, really.
Yeah.
Like I really do. Like especially against New Zealand and actually especially against Australia on tour, she usually is one of the people to score against her, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, I feel like she always plays well. She's always that powerful player who just finds the break up the middle and seems to find her way to slide through. And she did it at the perfect time at the Olympics and was consistent. So it paid off.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we mentioned the play. You said you watched the play a lot already, but that call, the epic call from Rupert Cox, and then Knight alongside him, how many times have you listened or watched that clip? And will you stop ever?
Wait, you said from the time that she caught the ball?
Well, yeah, just the call, just the play-by-play call, the TV call, which is so phenomenal.
Oh yeah, it's everywhere. I can't not watch it anymore. It's just, I don't know. It's epic. It's literally everywhere though. Like I'm scrolling down my timelines. I mean, obviously track is happening now, but it's on NBC Sports and people continue to come up and talk to you about it. So it's like, it's everywhere. Can't escape it.
And have you had a little bit of a glow up on social? Have you had an increase in followers on Instagram and TikTok?
For sure. I went from like 20K to 80K, 86,000 followers. TikTok is going up too. So it's wild. I mean, we definitely blew up right after it. And I've been making content and pumping it out before this happened and now after. So as long as I'm like consistent, I'm hoping to like grow my account, be a little mini Alona Mar, That's
right. Let's get some of those endorsement deals.
That's the goal.
I want to go back to that right after the moment, if you can. Your teammates are jumping around. Share with us, if you can, like just what everyone was saying in the, as everyone was jumping around and celebrating the moment when it all dawned on you. What were you all saying to each other?
We were, first of all, screaming to the top of our lungs. I'm like, a lot of us were just like, we can't believe it. Like, this is unreal. And like, I think we just felt like a feeling of relief. Like we all got down to our knees and like we're on the ground because it was just like so relieving to know that our hard work has finally paid off. Because if you watched us throughout the season, like we were not winning at all. Like we weren't top 3 for a lot of our tournaments. So it's like, what are we doing wrong? We know we have the steps down. And then now we really just honed in and really applied everything that we learned. And when it finally pays off, it's just like this sense of like a relief and just gratefulness and excitement and like pure, relief is the way that I would explain it, because it just encapsulates all the work that we put in. It's just,
yeah.
Well, I was following along on Instagram, and I think it was a relief too to see that you were able to eat some maybe some food that wasn't part of the diet prior to.
Yes, we stopped at some chicken place and got some food. That's all we've pretty much been doing together, is just eating food everywhere.
Exactly.
Going for drinks because we usually don't drink throughout the season. So it's just been fun and relaxing now.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the crowd size, because record-setting crowd size there at the Stadium Stade de France. Excuse my French, I don't have the best pronunciation, but I mean, just talk about what it felt like to play in front of 69,000 fans there.
Crazy.
It was so loud in there. Yeah, it was insanely loud. But the feeling was like, because we came from last Olympics was Tokyo, so it was so different. Like
Mhm.
the energy was different. It just allowed us to have more fun and it just made it way more engaging and exciting. Also a little bit nerve-wracking, I will say, but there's so many people you can't even like tell that they're there, if that makes sense. Because there's just so
Mhm.
many.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know. So the crowd was elite. Like they were cheering for us. We did hear a lot of Alele blues, obviously, when we were playing against France, but like it was just electric, like the most fans ever in a rugby game. And
Mhm.
it's just, again, another way that we like made history was having all those fans come out, getting people more excited about rugby. It was insane.
And speaking of history, Coach Emily became the first female head coach to lead her team to an Olympic Sevens medal. Can you talk about her messaging throughout the competition? Was it ignore what's all around you, the fanfare, or take it all in, enjoy yourselves? What was the message?
Her message is mainly like focus on the present moment. And like we talked a lot about like focusing on our actions that we were going to take. Emily is she's very structured in the sense like we take it minute by minute. We take it quarter by quarter. Like you take every moment piece by piece, and that's how we're going to succeed. Like no looking ahead, no looking behind. Like we can prepare mentally for the crowd and all of that, but all we can do is stay in the moment and like attack each problem as it comes up in that time. So she was very just adamant about us focusing on moment by moment. What are we going to do in this moment? Halftime. Okay, this is what we need to work on. This is what we need to do. And yeah, just she always says that brick by brick, moment by moment. That's her mantra.
And this, your second Olympic Games, Tokyo 2020 or 2021. Did you treat it any differently? Were you calmer coming in, maybe less awe factor?
Yeah, I was way more confident this time around. My first Olympic Games, I was really, really nervous. Like, I didn't
Yeah.
even want to go in. I was just like, please don't put me in. I'm just like shaking on that. Yeah, so I tore my ACL too at that time. I think I was just really nervous. I wasn't confident at all. So I was just stifled. And I felt like that led to my injury as well. It's just like me being scared. This time I was way more confident. I was ready to play. Like once I got out there against New Zealand, I was a little bit nervous, but all the other games, I just felt ready to like score and like tackle. And I was really excited. So that was a great feeling to not have to worry about as many nerves. And it was good to see how like the girls who had their first Olympics here, how they handled it too, which they did a great job. It was Spiff's first Olympics, Sammy's, Steph's, like they handled it really well. So it was exciting to see that too.
And I gotta imagine did it feel good getting revenge against Great Britain, right? Quarterfinal loss in the last Olympics, and certainly knocking them off at this Olympics. Was there a little bit of a revenge factor involved in that one at all?
For sure. We definitely used that as fuel before we went out there. I had a chase back against Jasmine Joyce. Like, I did not want them to win that game. Like, personally, I felt it in Tokyo. I was not letting it happen again. Like, respectfully, I was just like, we have to win this game. So it was definitely some revenge happening there.
Yeah, on that question about Jasmine Joyce, right? She's recognized as, she's a pretty fast, she's a sprinter. Do you get a sense from when you're out on the field, do you like take it personally? Like, no, I'm the fastest one on the field and I'm going to show you by chasing you down. Does that drive you a little bit?
For sure. Like, it's always pretty obvious who's the fastest on the field. Like, all the wings know that. Every wing knows which wing is faster. And that's what makes it, like, more intimidating. Like, for example, when I'm against Jasmine Joyce, I'm like, okay, I know I'm faster. I feel like I'm bigger and stronger. It's also a mindset thing because really it just depends on how you're feeling that day. But when I'm against, like, Michaela Blythe, like, this girl is steppy. Her stiff arm is crazy. So it's definitely, like, more intimidating in that regard. And yeah, it depends on the person, but my teammates will hype me up and like, you're the fastest on the field. Remember that, like before you go out. So they're trying to put that in your head, and yeah, everybody's trying to hype you up for your speed.
I love the competition with speed. It's at every level. Like you look at the Olympic sprinters, like there's attitude. Like if they don't, like they're going to hurt somebody if you get in their way.
Yeah,
which I guess
exactly.
relates to rugby.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little more about this group. A number of them played in the last Olympics also. So were you guys just more settled as a group this time around? Between obviously for you more playing time since you weren't even on the circuit when you made the last Olympics. So we'll talk a little about that. I mean, just you guys have definitely gelled together more over the last few years.
Yeah, for sure. Because a lot of the girls who went to Tokyo were here this time around. So again, we knew what happened in Tokyo, and I feel like we really had it in us to not feel that feeling again, because it was terrible. It was detrimental to us because we really were expecting to at least get top 4, top 3, but we got like 6th place. So for me, it was like, I'm not letting that happen again. And I'm sure the other girls felt it too. Like they were like, okay, we really have to hone in. We really have to lock in these games, even though a lot of it is out of our control, but we definitely worked hard. A lot of our games, like I can't say any of our games really were like terrible, which shows like how focused we were this Olympics. Sorry if I didn't answer your question, but
No, that was on. I nailed it. That was great. And we talked briefly about social media earlier, a couple times actually. Were you ready for that kind of reaction about the team's success? Obviously, Alana's social impact as well.
Oh my gosh, not at all. This was like above and beyond. Like the fact that like we knew that we had to win and that it was going to do a lot for our program. We had that in the back of our minds, and that was a big driver for us. But we weren't expecting I don't think we were thinking about making history in terms of being the first rugby team, both men and women. Like that was huge. So that was another aspect that we weren't really thinking about. We were pretty much thinking about, okay, how are we going to get funding for next year? Like we need to win. We need to get a medal. And then like the whole history and like the fact, the way, again, like I said, the way that it ended really put us out there. So it was way bigger than we were expecting for sure.
And you mentioned financing. What kind of surprise was it to get those $4 million announced in front of the team?
That was pretty cool. I mean, we weren't expecting that. We found out the day of, and then we met the woman, and we were just so grateful. We were amazed. Like, we're like $4 million for a bronze medal. That's all we needed to do.
We would have done that a long time ago.
I know, right?
Wait, does that mean 12 million for gold?
Right? Seriously. So they weren't kidding when they said like we really need to medal and it's going to have impact, and it did. Like the hard work immediately paid off, and we saw that with the media, the Today Show, and just the coverage. Yeah. The fact that we had Jason Kelsey come out, like it was immediate feedback. So that was cool to see.
Yeah, to talk a little bit more about that coverage, appearing on the Today Show. I got to imagine how many messages did you have on your phone when you finally got back to your phone after the bronze medal game?
Insane. Like Instagram messages, TikTok, like the follower count really was what got me. But even like when you're walking around the village, people recognize you because they've seen it everywhere. Workers, like everyone. It's just everywhere. And then people are texting me, like a friend of a friend has said they saw you on TV, and it's just like it's everywhere. So it's like, yeah.
Sorry, when you walk around the village, sorry, Fitzy, are there people? Have you seen someone you just fanned over? Like, oh my God, that's so and so.
Simone Biles and Noah Lyles.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely those two.
I know.
Did you get a chance to
see Flavor Flav?
Oh yeah, I saw Flavor Flav too. Yeah, he was out there.
Did you get a chance to meet, or have you met Simone and Noah before?
Yeah, I've seen Noah so many times. Like I keep seeing him everywhere. I'm like, are you following me? I kind of made a joke about it, but yeah, he's really cool. He's been around the village. And then Simone Biles, I only saw her once we were like got our kit and stuff. But I took a picture with her and chatted for like 2 seconds. But it was really nice to see her.
Yeah, I guess, how does it feel? Because certainly the USA Women's Rugby Sevens winning bronze was the biggest story at the beginning of the Olympics. But I mean, being included with the likes of Simone Biles and Noah Lyles, who have been, getting a lot of attention, and certainly in prime time as it relates to watching here in the U.S. How does it feel to be grouped with athletes like that?
It's really cool. It's super honorable. I think in rugby though, I think we'd have our star like Alona Mar. So she's kind of like the face of USA Rugby. So in a sense, like we kind of live through her too because she has so many followers, high engagement. So we see how people feel about rugby in general through like her social media too, which is really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's amazing to be in the same spaces as everybody. Like that's my favorite part about the Olympics is being able to be this close to the best athletes in the world.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, like, I'm sure you've been asked this question quite a bit and maybe have reflected on it, but the moment was certainly huge for the game. Rugby, huge for the women's game. I mean, have you thought at all about what kind of impact this has on you and others, and possibly with, the sport of rugby and sevens in the US?
Oh my God, yeah. I've also like been interacting with the fan community, and they so many stories about their young daughters who have seen rugby and now they want to play, or how their young daughters never watch sports with them, but they watch the whole rugby game. And the fact that more people are just knowing about the sport itself is enough for me to like be excited, because just having it on their screens and on their phones is like huge because people are getting interested. They're like, okay, what is this? They're asking me, how do I get more involved? Where do I start? So people are really excited. Like it has got people riled up to like actually play. And that's the kind of impact that we need to have. It's like getting people to actually come out and getting their kids to want to do it too.
Talk about Nia Tapper retiring from the game, or at least at this level, also just celebrated her birthday. Talk about her impact to not just USA Rugby, but the game itself and yourself.
Gosh, I'm going to miss her so much.
Yeah.
She, oh my God, just had such an impact on this team. Like she was our rock. Like she held us accountable. She made sure that this team was always growing and never stagnant in one spot. So I don't know. I'm excited to see how it's going to be without her. And like, man, because she's been here for a long time. Like I've watched her before I started playing rugby. So it's actually really sad. Like she has had such an impact on the game, like top try scorer. She has done so much for USA Rugby and this team. So it's going to be interesting to see how we're going to be able to navigate without her. Because even like with Emily Bidwell, like she was such a big help to her in helping her navigate the team. So I just hope she comes back in some way and like, helps to grow the game and continues to be a part of our program.
Has she talked about what she wants to do next?
I don't know yet. I think she's going wherever like she gets paid the most, but like possibly coaching, possibly finance or the business world. And yeah, hopefully like ideally, I think she would want to work with USA Rugby and possibly be like an executive in the department or something like that. But she does want to still be involved if she can.
Well, you're talking a little bit about yourself. You're a certified personal trainer. Have you changed your business bio yet to add Olympic medalist? I got to imagine that's got to help with business a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. It's just been hard trying to maintain like clients individually because we travel so much. So what I want to start doing is like group Zoom sessions and having like just people come in on a group Zoom call and then we work out from there. Preferably like a dance style hip hop, like kind of like Zumba. I feel like that'd be more fun and a great way to like keep people engaged and active. I feel like that's just way more fun to work out than lifting weights and other things like that because I do that all day long. So I'm thinking about starting that and hosting that. And it would be really fun. It'd be a fun way to spend my time and make money on the side.
Let's look ahead a little bit here. Of course, LA is going to host the 28 Olympics. We're super excited about that. It sounds like I've read some reports that the venue that is selected for Rugby Sevens, they may have to switch to a bigger one because of the overwhelming crowd there in France. So that's amazing. So Ari, I mean, the plans for 2028, you hope to be in the mix there, of course?
Of course. The pressure's going to be real, though, because we can't come out with a bronze. It's not going to be as hype anymore. So we got to get a silver or a gold. So the pressure is definitely on. We're getting a whole new team. So that's going to be interesting to see how we grow. So it's a lot, but I'm excited. We got 4 years to build. So
Well, but before 2028, though, there's another big rugby event coming up in 2025, the Rugby World Cup, 15s, of course. Have you had anybody from the 15 squad reached out and inquired to see if you're interested in wanting to play 15s again?
I am not a 15s girl, really. I mean, I could, but it's not my game, really. It's longer. I'm a speedster. I just like to run fast and get the ball. I don't need to. All the contact is just, it's not for me. Not for me. I'm more of a 15, a sevens girl.
Gotcha.
Well, Ari, you and I were nearly classmates. You went to Dartmouth. I went to Keene State College many, many years ago. So we were nearly classmates. Very close. Well, listen, Ari Ramsey, this has been a blast talking to you. Seriously, I've had goosebumps since that last game, or since the first game of this tournament, honestly. Congratulations on the success, and we really do hope it keeps going.
Yes, I hope so too, and it will. It will.
That's right.
It will, absolutely. Okay, let's chat again soon, hopefully before Premiership starts and everything else, Premier Rugby. All right, we'll talk again soon.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Yeah, I mean, that's the first time having a medalist in the show, I believe. Right? Olympic medalist?
100%. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
That's cool. I mean, she called in from Paris. She's still enjoying the Olympics. I'm sure she's got other media outlets hitting her up, asking her to come chat, and she was on our show. Amazing.
Absolutely, and she'll never know how much we do appreciate that. And also, France needs to do a couple of things. One, clean up the Seine. All right, clean the river, and then also get better Wi-Fi. We need better Wi-Fi in the hotels.
Yeah. That's all right. I'm glad we were able to talk with her, though. Whether she was on screen or not, it was fantastic.
Absolutely. All right, let's move on. We have another champion, I'm going to say. Obviously, Ari and the team are champions, if you ask us. Let's get this gentleman on. With us today, the only Major League Rugby head coach to win back-to-back MLR shields, New England Free Jacks head coach, Scott Mathie. Hey, Scott.
How's it going, guys?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, man.
Now, I'm not 100% sure that's true, but I think it is because I believe Seawolves had Phil Mack in 2018 and Richie Walker in 2019. So I believe you are the only head coach to win back-to-back MLR championships. So congratulations.
Just say that again. I think I just lost that a bit, but
no, we're just saying, Scott, so congratulations on winning the Shield. Now the real party begins. Apparently, you're in the car getting ready to go. All the celebrations starting today.
Yeah, well, the celebrations haven't finished, I don't think. Yeah, it's been good. We got some function on tonight with the city of Quincy. We're off to the Patriots tomorrow, which is pretty cool, and I think we've got a rally on Sunday coming. So it's all happening. Reminds me of last year. It was all a blur.
and a mini parade through the town of Quincy, possibly. So Scott, who's going to be there? Because we've been communicating with a bunch of players from the team. It seems like anybody who plays in the NPC or in Europe are on planes right now. So hopefully you have a good group of the team there.
Yeah, I mean, Chish, we've got as you know, we've got a real strong Canadian contingent here, and
true.
Those boys will be around. We've got all the American boys who are still here. There's a couple of, I think there's still one or two of the foreign boys that are around, which would be great. A couple of the boys that were injured in the course of the campaign will be here too. So there'll be a fair bunch, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Scott, let's talk a little bit about that final against Seattle there. How much were you guys able to – you played Seattle earlier in the season. It was a regular season loss at home for you guys, but what were you able to take from that loss to prepare your squad for the final there on Sunday?
Yeah, a lot. I think we take a lot from every loss, I guess, or I suppose every game really. But yeah, just highlighted for us a few things. Obviously we knew we were going to be targeted at our scrum time. I always felt that our line out was going to function well. I thought we the back end of the season we were really good in the line out. So I don't think that was probably a big problem for us in that first game. So yeah, I thought that was going to be their big target area, the set piece, and I think it definitely was. But I felt after the first 3 or 4 scrums, our boys really locked it down, and it became, they couldn't get any love on the maul, they couldn't get too much love on the scrums, so it then kind of swung in our favour quite heavily. I thought. The same thing with that Seattle game early on. We didn't take. We had a lot of very good chances. I always knew we'd create chances against Seattle. They're probably I think they're the most penalized team in MLR. So it was one of those where if we got the right territory and just applied the right pressure, we'd always get penalties. And I think, and that's exactly what we did. We just took points and points and points, and those kind of just started racking up. And so a lot of the things we spoke about, came off. I would have loved us to handle the second half a lot better. I didn't feel like we needed to sustain that much pressure, but yeah.
And you've been talking game plan. Obviously, it seemed like Seattle's forwards were a bit tired late in the match. Was that part of the plan as well? Was to get them away from the pack, get them running more, tire them out?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, you could probably see from the starting few phases. We wanted to move that ball around. Get their forwards moving around, all making tackles. Getting off the floor. These are things that were definitely part of our plan. I didn't feel like they had a very strong bench. I always thought our bench has been probably the strongest in the league. So if we find parity or we slightly up come the last 20-25 minutes, I've always felt like we've got the energy and the ability to really either put a team away or withstand whatever pressures we've been thrown our way, and such was the case. I thought our bench was really good on the weekend.
And prior to this season, I believe you and I chatted for a while back about this, but prior to the season, did you see it as a real possibility? Like, you have a squad, a lot returned, you've added key players. Did you see it as a possibility of winning back-to-back championships?
Yeah, look, I mean, it's always a possibility. I just knew the challenge of it was going to be really difficult. And we found that out. You 7-8 weeks in, I was like, gee, it's a lot more difficult than I thought, actually, because you have to deal with the hoorah all around winning a title, and you got to bring boys back down to earth, and you've got to and then you add a few injuries to that, and you got to find sometimes different ways to win, or different ways to I suppose cover up for those massive players that we lost. How do we get the same output from different guys, and you got to figure that out. And every team's coming for their championship. That's their game. So I definitely felt if we got through it all, and we found a way to master all of that, I always felt we'll be great, we'll be good in the playoffs, because of the nature of having to play against everyone's best the whole season. And that definitely refines you and sharpens you and builds some resilience there. But it was just about getting through all that and seeing, were we able to get on the other side of that and be in a favorable situation,
Yeah, Scott, let's talk about some of those late season additions that you guys brought on. I mean, Toby Ficker, Oscar Lennon, Jed Melvin, he was named player of the match. I mean, talk about the impact of those 3 guys being able to come onto the squad and help out.
Yeah, I think what people probably don't know is that, chats with those players have been long in the process, So I remember chatting to Oscar Lennon before last season, just around, hey, how's it going? Can we, what's the possibility of this? And you never know when it's going to come to fruition, but you just keep those lines on, and sometimes you get the bite. Same with Toby. Toby was out here last year for a couple of weeks over the summer break, just to come check out Boston. So that was there. And then Jed Melvin, we always wanted Jed from the start, and he had a relationship with Ben, who was at New York, and so kind of went that route. So we didn't get our man initially, but we got him eventually. And it just showed, like, the quality of those guys coming in. And I was just surprised, really. I was just really, and this probably speaks volumes of the boys in the environment. just how quickly they assimilated. You know, it's always a worry. It was a concern of mine. You know, they might be good players, but doesn't always necessarily mean they play for the team, because they have to learn that. You have to learn how we play, and they have to learn what we do and how we do things. So I was just really happy that they were able to, you know, assimilate that quickly.
So if I'm correct, Toby and Oscar are USA qualified. Did that have anything to do with their decision?
Oh, definitely. I think US qualified players are highly sought after and highly prized, you know, especially players of that quality. They almost become foreign spots, if you will, because of their quality, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, just briefly, a little more about the finals. 12,000 plus fans, Scott, at Snapdragon. It's a big place, but did the team get anything, like any kind of push from those fans on there? I mean, I unfortunately couldn't make it this year, but I know there's a good contingent of Free Jacks fans there. But to have 12,000, which is the most ever for MLR, it says a couple of things. One, about the growth of the league, but did they have any impact on the team at all?
Oh, definitely. We always hear our fans. They're very loud, and they were there before when we got off the bus, and they were going crazy, and they were making noise on the field. But it's a fantastic stadium. I think you'll probably find there was, obviously, Seattle was the closer trip, so there was a fair few Seattle fans, and I don't know, it felt like San Diego fans weren't. I'm not too sure who they were cheering for. It would have been a bit of a difficult one. But yeah, no, we always hear our Quincy faithful out there. It was a great vibe, great energy.
Yeah, I mean, the weather was, sunny, looked good on TV, but do you guys have a preference if you prefer playing like in the evening light and maybe the heat isn't as much, or you just show up when you need to?
Yeah, man, sorry, I got something in my throat there, but I'm not too bothered. I think the boys obviously don't particularly want to, if they had a choice, they wouldn't want to play in the heat of the day. Yeah. But I definitely think it. I believe we're already fit and a team that can handle all that stuff better than other teams, because we're not a very heavy team. I think sometimes playing in those conditions might suit us more actually than some sides who might have a bigger pack, heavier boys that tends to take a bigger toll on those guys.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit more about the 2024 season. And defense has been pretty stout for you guys all season long. Showed again in the finals. Has that been a concentration or a focus of yours and the coaching staff from day one this season?
Yeah, it always has been. Our game model's always been built around pressurizing the ball, and I think a key part of that is obviously our line speed and our defense. We get it also from our kicking game, a lot of contestable kicks, pressure the ball. We probably evolved a little bit this year too, which we tried to. We definitely made inroads into how we use the ball in attack, and the forward skill sets were a lot better at being able to play the passes really close and tight to the line. But the fundamentals of our game doesn't change, and that's pressurizing the ball through a line speed defense. So.
Yeah, and you talked earlier about weathering some injuries. Certainly, scrum half John Poland, and then 8-man Vian Conradi, some of the bigger names that were out for most of all of the season. Was there ever any concern from the staff when they went down, or is that part of that evolution of how the team had to just adjust to that?
No, I think there's always concern. It's not. We're not. Although we carry a really deep squad. I think we've been purposeful in our recruitment around that. It's still a league where it's not easy to replace your big players. It's not an easy feat. And we forget. Mitch Jacobson didn't really play much for us this season. With his shoulder, and he's highly influential captain. And losing Eagle and John Roy late to the end there was also not ideal. But I think once you get over the initial shock, I think it's just more about solving problems, or how do we get the same amount of tackles and dominant hits out of our team if Vion's not playing? And it took us a while to figure that out, and kind of get the right balance to make that work. And, thankfully, guys like Jed Melvin and Seta Baker, I thought Set stepped up fantastically. I thought he was awesome in the final. Started to manage to carry those loads, and all of a sudden you start to get a different product, but you're getting the same output.
One of the injuries, which didn't happen with the Free Jacks, but Leroux Milan finally getting his try, a year after last year's Chicago match, the finals. Talk about his transition back into, maybe 100%, or did he ever get back to 100% this year?
I think it was definitely a process for him. I think more so just having confidence in your leg again. Speed and all the rest of the stuff is there, but it's just that ability to know that it's you can really go full tilt on it. And I think sometimes he was getting right there, and then he would get he got like an ankle injury with the last 3 weeks of the season. Which didn't help it, but I definitely thought that come the back end of the season, he was nearing, the quality that we've come to expect, and I think the ankle probably just held him off that last 10%. But in terms of what he gives us, in terms of distribution, just carryability and organization, he's a huge member of this team, and I have no doubt he heads off now to Hawke's Bay, and I think he'll probably just gather that last 10% there, and come back a lot stronger after that.
And you mentioned the Canadian players will be around this week for celebrations, at least. Quite a few Canadians in the team. What's the deal with that? How was it? They were friends with Ben or friends with Josh, or that kind of communication, or obviously they're quality players.
Yeah, I think it was handy having Josh, and one or two of the boys who already had a good experience here, and obviously it probably wasn't it was good timing for us, with Toronto and how that worked out, so and with it being proximity close to a lot of these guys where they live, also helpful, used to the cold, similar type of weather. I think there's just a lot of things that fit, if you know what I'm saying. So, and once you've got a couple, it was just so much easier to get a few more. They've been a really strong base for us, haven't they? I mean, we've got a few more American boys in now, I think, over the past year, but I'm always grateful to the Canadian boys. I think they go about their job really well. They diligent, hardworking, and grateful environment.
Yeah, Scott, you mentioned American players this year, Caleb Geiger, and certainly Mitch Wilson. He's been a holdover for a number of seasons. Obviously, when an American rugby fan sees that they aren't starting for the Free Jacks, I mean, obviously they're good players, but for your squad, were they more important as having an impact coming off the bench?
Yeah, I wouldn't, I'm not too, the guys know on our side, it's first of all, it's a big squad thing. Everyone gets a medal. Sometimes you'll be good for the quarterfinal, the quarterfinal match, but the matchup in the semifinal might not be suited to what we need. And then you don't play, and that's just how it is. The team comes first. But guys like Caleb and Mitch, Caleb has just been a revelation on the bench for us. It's he started, I think, Anthem, and that was probably it. And he's definitely going to get more starts. But sometimes it's just about what's going to be best for us. And Caleb Geiger with 30 minutes left on the field is the best prop in MLR. There's no better. And so I just think for his growth and growth and in the game, I think it's really set him up strongly for what's to come next. Mitchie Wilson, I can't speak highly enough of Mitch Wilson. Like his leadership, his ability. He played a bit of fullback for us this year. He played a lot of games. He started a lot of games. And just at the end, I think Toby probably just had a chance, and it was touch and go. But I thought Mitchie, when he comes on, him, Ben Lesage, and Holden. And Holden started a lot for us this year too. I just felt those three guys were just going to give us something different and more energy and some sort of work rate off the bench. And they did such a fantastic job against Chicago coming on. We made them early substitutions around 50 minutes, and they just came on, and it was just I felt like it was a real difference maker. So I thought on a wide field, big field, grass field where we're probably going to need more backs, it was really important that I kept the same combination there. But it's just horses for courses a lot of the time, I'll be honest.
Yeah. Now, a few more questions for you, but obviously back-to-back titles. Patros won Most Valuable Player of the Year for the league. Do you think you have a very good chance to have back-to-back Players of the Year, maybe Reese or somebody?
I would hope so. I think if you go through all that and you come out on the other side and having to do it, I think if people understand it's really difficult to do this, man. It's not easy, and I think that in itself speaks about consistency. And if you're going to award a Player of the Year, it's all about consistency for me. Who has consistently performed really well, and guys like Patros, guys like Reece McDonald, guys like Wayne Vanderbank. Those are the guys that come to mind. Like if you look at consistently doing it week in, week out, and getting a trophy at the end of the day, I just feel it's pretty hard to look past that, to be honest.
Scott, let's look ahead to.
But I'm biased.
Yeah, so am I. We should have.
Well, Scott, what is the? Let's look ahead now. What does the off season look like for you personally?
Yeah, we just must get through this week, which is
hey, easy on your liver.
Yeah, it's such an awesome moment of the season, and it's got to be enjoyed. But I think from about 4 weeks ago, TK and I were already, starting to plan and plot for the draft and the recruitment process for next year. We've got to. I think when you win, it makes the cap a bit tighter and a bit more difficult. So we're going to be really shrewd and creative around what we're doing in the roster for next year. So a large part of the next 2 months is just spent on hammering down our recruitment and really getting those draft picks right there.
Hey, real quick, Fitzy, I'm going to jump in. Scott, you mentioned Tom Kindly. TK has risen through this. I mean, he's just keeps stepping up and improving everything he does. Do you think there's going to be a point soon where it may be tough for you to keep him on the staff because of possible offers from other clubs?
Oh, TK's, he's embedded in what it is to be a free jack. You're not gonna. There's not a better GM in the league by a long stretch, to be honest. The amount of capacity of work that he can get through, and his care that he has for his players is unrivaled. And I think the Free Jacks have so much to thank this man for. He's made my job an absolute breeze. I get to focus purely on the rugby, and even just with the recruitment and stuff, it's just it's an absolute pleasure. With his attention to detail and his ability to get through masses of work. He's highly prized. I wouldn't be surprised if everyone wants him, but I'm pretty sure
you got him.
He's still got a bit of time.
Well, so you're confirmed for coming back next year. Could you give us an idea of how much your squad is returning next year as well?
There's still quite a bit of water to go under the bridge, to be honest. I think we'll retain a good fair amount. I'm hoping to get to similar as last year, where we had about 70% or so. I think for MLS standards, that's pretty good. But there's quite a bit of work to be done. Yeah.
And let's look at players also. We got, obviously, with Anthem beginning this year and the loaning of players. Let's talk about maybe Junior Gaffa, drafted last year, loaned to Anthem, had a strong season. Will he be returning to the Free Jacks next year?
Well, that's the plan. You know, the reason for us loaning these guys out wasn't, you know, to aid anyone else except ourselves, you know, and obviously to aid the player because he's gonna improve and all the rest of it. But with the idea of him coming back to really to play for us, you know. So I don't know. I mean, you know, it's barring any new revelations that come out or whatever it is. You know, we're really excited to have Junior back in our ranks and fighting for those centre spots. But it's a funny old off season, eh? So like I think as far as the whole squad goes, it's you think one thing and then a lot of things change.
And it's just generally speaking of the loaning system, it works. You feel like it works. You look at Tavita Soul, returned from Miami, got into the playoffs. You know, do they come back really improved than when they left?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think there's no replacing game involvement, you know.
Yeah.
So if they're not playing for you, they can train as much as they want. And as much as how highly we think of our training environment, it doesn't match a game, you know. So these guys that go off and play is definitely going to grow them and make them better. So yeah, it's just good to see, like, you know, this year with a couple of those lone players, just, you know, we got to see that improvement firsthand.
Scott, you mentioned the upcoming event. You got the MLR Collegiate Draft taking place at the end of this month. Last season, y'all had 3 picks: Gabe Casey, Junior Gaffa, we just talked about, Will Chevalier. You know, are there college prospects that you or Tom have kind of identified as some prospects potentially for the Free Jacks?
Not yet. We've had a couple of our guys on the task of literally just they've been to MLR Rising, or Wilsey and Baba have been on that, and they've been compiling that all for us. We just got to now compile the stars that weren't there, and then go through the tape base. So that's pretty much going to be the next month's work. And then I think part of that's also just connecting with all the respective coaches at these places. You know, we've got a couple of scout coaches whose opinions we place higher than most, and you know, we'll go through our processes there and kind of whittle that down. But as far as names go, there's a few, but yeah, I probably won't don't want to jump the gun there.
Yeah. And Scott, finally, I know you had a little on your plate the last week or so. Have you had a chance to watch any of the Olympic Sevens? And are you a Sevens fan?
I enjoy Sevens. I enjoyed it more when the Blitzboks were winning all the time. But yeah, no, I've seen the exposure that the women's Sevens has been getting, which has been fantastic. I think the men's game in the States have always been strong, you know, which is awesome. Yeah, so cool. It's really great for the sport, I guess.
Well, that's what I'm going to ask you. Like, do you potentially see an uptick, maybe involvement with the game, maybe playing, but also fans coming into Quincy?
I hope so. I generally think any exposure is good exposure, whether it's sevens or not. I think generally the Olympics will probably will get that response with them doing well, and hopefully we see this even bigger responses when we get the 2027 World Cup and after major events, and then obviously leading up to 2031. But I think all these things are really great for the game, and it just promotes the game and creates more those marketing moments, I guess, or advertising the sport.
Well, I know you just talked about South Africa doing well, but maybe if you want another job, the stuff on social media, the Canadian fans like, Maybe Scott Mathie should be the Canadian national coach because you do so well with them.
Yeah, no, we have a good relationship with Kingsley, man, and I think after their beating Romania, was it? They probably feel like. It's going to be interesting. They play USA this coming November, right? So we'll see where both squads are at. But it's hard. Right. I got players in both camps, and I kind of want both of them to do well.
Yeah, of course. Well, hey Scott, thank you so much for joining us, and again, congratulations on winning the championship game this year. And I apologize for not being there for it. My bad.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All right, man. Have a good time this week. We'll talk again soon.
Awesome. Thanks, cheers, guys. Okay.
Yes, always fun having these guys on. That I thought we were going to break some news there. Like, yes, I am taking the Canadian national Maybe not.
Nah, man, he's looking forward to the parade later today, man. So he's like, give me all this interview. I want to go drink Sam Adams.
Yeah, exactly. I think the parade is later in the week, but I think tonight is like a taste of Quincy. Yeah, it's called the Taste of Quincy Food Festival, which I think is a very bad idea because these rugby guys are probably hungry.
Gonna run out of food.
Exactly. They better have a lot of ribs or something going on there. And it's probably the same thing as Ari, how she's just eating and drinking and all stuff. Like these guys are like,
kidding.
Whatever you got, let me have it. Good stuff, Fitzy. You know what? I think let's call it a day. That's a lot of fun. Two great guests. For those of you that missed it, tune in to our other episode earlier in the night or day with Ari Ramsey, the Olympic bronze medalist. And check out the podcast replays of both of these interviews coming out tomorrow. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.